problem is that we sometimes make the mistake of thinking those in charge care about us. They don't. You know, they don't care. They don't mind if we smoke and die of cancer. They don't mind if cars run us over. They don't mind if we can't test our ecstasy before we take it. They don't mind. They don't care. They don't stop us having our dope because they care about us. You know, they're giving us all the sort of weapons of death over and over again. You know, it's not because they care. They pretend to care about us. It's some other bullshit going on.
I started using illegal drugs, in particular one called marijuana, when I was about 20. It was quite a late starter, but I honestly feel I've made up for it since then. I forgot to switch my mobile. Eventually became a dealer, primarily to access better quality marijuana and to be able to afford it. And things became bigger and bigger and bigger, and I became a very big dealer, a very big smuggler, and eventually did a total of 9 years in prison. I came out 2 years ago and was offered a large amount of money to write a book about my life. During the course of publicizing that book, I attended a Legalise Cannabis conference in London, and there some people asked me to stand for Parliament on their behalf. It was a campaign to legalise cannabis centred in Norwich. I've never had too much desire to be a politician, but I felt that this would be a sensible use of my notoriety, that I could lend it towards a cause that for sure I have sincerely believed in all my life.
Whose idea was it to ask him?
Well, as I say, it was a joint effort. Alan, Nick, Tina, myself. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I mean, we needed that kind of high profile, really. You know, I mean, we could have done it ourselves, but we wouldn't have had nowhere near the publicity, nowhere near the movement which Howard could engender.
I'd like to ask all the candidates, are they aware that Queen Victoria, amongst many others, used cannabis as a medicine? And do they think it right that people with or voters with a wide variety of medical conditions should be legally denied the medicinal uses of this plant?
Are you someone who uses it yourself?
I am indeed.
Medicinally?
Not specifically medicinally, but I believe cannabis has a wide number of uses.
All right. Well, we won't pursue the way in which you use it more, but... Well, I wasn't expecting that you would get a direct question, Howard Marks, but I think you can take it up first.
Yes, I don't have to think very hard about this one, actually. Of course, it's absolutely insane that sick and infirm people can't be given a herb which is known to cure them and help them be cured by other chemicals. I have yet to see any argument given for that position, that people should be denied that medicine.
But are we not taking it a little bit further in your case? You want
I thought you wanted it. So
well, I mean, you want cannabis to be legalised
yes.
generally, not just for use in medicinal
No,
purposes.
but I thought we were talking, Tom mentioned
yes?
medicine as Queen Victoria. To answer his question, if I might, Tom, yes, I did know that Queen Victoria was prescribed cannabis as a medicine. And I do think it's wrong that people who were suffering from it are denied.
But let me expand, because
Please.
that's what you're standing for, that
Yes.
you want it to be available generally.
Yes, I want it available as a recreational substance as well as a medicine.
Perhaps I could just mention natural medicines as a whole. I have been spending about 30 years collecting traditional medicines in the Far East countries, and I've never yet come across cannabis as a traditional medicine in that area of the world.
The collection is incomplete. Allow me to supplement it.
The problem, I think, with all traditional medicines at first is they have to be tested before they can be available, and everyone should use them. And there's always a problem of overdose, and that would have happened to Queen Victoria if her doctors had given her far too much. The big worry, I think, with...
How many people have died of overdose of cannabis? How many people have died from an overdose of cannabis?
Well, perhaps you can tell me, but
none.
The big
Quite important
trouble
fact.
is the addiction. And a
Cannabis is
lot
not
of
addictive.
young people...
Are you saying that cannabis is addictive?
Are
you saying that?
I
Howard, hang on.
I would be
thought he wanted
very
us to interrupt.
surprised if cannabis is not an addictive one.
Well, I surprise you, it's not addictive. It's
just
known not
as
to be
tobacco
addictive. Why are you
and
saying
even
that? Do you
alcohol
really
are
believe
also
cannabis is
addictive as well.
addictive? Do you believe cannabis
Right,
is
let
addictive?
us get the other gentleman.
I would
We are
only
limited in
agree
time.
to
As a
cannabis
pharmacist,
or
yeah,
any
let's ask
other
him, is
if
cannabis
a
addictive?
panel of doctors
Do you
or
think
medical
cannabis
people
is addictive?
would
we'll
have
stop-
said
we'll stop at that
it is
point.
very, very safe.
Right,
Until
well,
doctors
let's
say
ask-
it is safe,
let's ask-
then
let's ask a
Give someone
pharmacist.
else a
I
chance.
would
You're
keep the
talking
status quo.
nonsense.
Let's, give the gentleman a proper answer to what he asked.
Yes, of course. I'm
And the
sorry.
answer to that is that we have up to now, and the Pharmaceutical Journal of June 1995 has an extensive article summarizing studies worldwide, not just in Britain, which says very clearly we have not been able to identify scientifically, doing blind tests, the active ingredients, which are many in cannabis, not one,
Why do they
as
make
to
them
which
illegal then?
ingredient it is that will give the measured response, which is predictable and repeatable. This is how science works.
Is this
And
what they
as a
convince young people
pharmacist,
not to
I would
smoke?
like to see that patients get treatment that is predictable and based on science, not on some hearsay.
Hang on.
Fundamentally, I agree with a lot of what Bashir was saying about the need to have a very scientific approach to this. Queen Victoria may have behaved in a certain way. They had bloodletting not long before Queen Victoria, and I don't think we should necessarily assume that because medicinal approaches of previous times operated in a particular way, they're the guide to the future.
Yeah, and they
What I
won't be
believe
able to
is,
play the
what I believe on
pharmaceutical
cannabis.
How Mark, you're getting overexcited.
I'm wondering what he's on. What I do believe is that we should investigate the situation scientifically, take very seriously the views of those such as many senior
8,000 years is not enough.
such
Come
as
enough.
such as senior policemen and people in social services.
We will have to go on if we don't get to.
I'm having some difficulty, John,
I
because
can tell. It's terrible, isn't
no,
it?
I mean I really don't believe the people of Norwich South to take advice from a convicted drug dealer
Don't you?
and millionaire drug dealer on these issues.
Don't you think it works?
no,
Why do you send
As
it
long as
to
he's
the
served his
gentleman?
sentence, he's okay, isn't he?
Gentlemen, we
I mean, I thought
stop-
that was the
we
the
stop
law.
that
What I was trying to do is answer the question.
I don't know the names even of the other candidates. You know, I've absolutely no interest in them, their policies. I mean, I used to be a Labour guy all my life. I'm vaguely left-wing in my views. And if Labour had a legalisation clause, I'd probably vote Labour. And I certainly wouldn't be doing any of this. So if as a result of what I'm doing, Labour adopt a legalisation policy, then that would be the best result for me personally. You know, it shouldn't be up to people like me to sort of like behave in this clownish fashion and everything. It's better that politicians actually implement some rational policies. And I think next time, there'll be kind of real people standing for this issue rather than me. And I think it's got to go through this way first. So I regard myself as a sacrificial clown.
The most important issue for the electorate is whether or not they should smoke cannabis.
Well, no, whether cannabis should be legalised or not.
That's
I'm-
the
I'm-
most important factor in
I'm
everyday
here
life.
to appeal to those who feel it is. Okay, if they don't, they shouldn't vote for me. Obviously.
What will you feel if you don't get elected?
What will I feel if I don't get elected?
Yeah.
I don't expect to have any emotion at all, one way or the other. I mean, I'm not trying to be a politician. I'm trying to legalise cannabis. Was a working class kid who went to a good university, who decided that studies and the money for such studies lacked a certain amount of adventure and meaning, and so I became a marijuana smuggler.
How long were you a marijuana smuggler for?
I started, I suppose it would be 1965, and in a sense I haven't stopped. perhaps standing for election did enable more books to be sold, possibly. You know. But if I was looking as to what to do in the 6 months before election, I think, and you know, concentrating on selling books, I think I could have probably spent those 6 months more profitably as far as selling books was concerned than standing for Parliament in various constituencies.
I'm actually against the full legalisation of cannabis without strict control on advertising. In fact, I'd like to see no advertising of any drugs, including alcohol and tobacco. And I think when Bashir talks about drugs, he should talk about some of the antidepressants that are currently being handed out. Man-made drugs like Prozac, which are basically mind control drugs. But who's actually watching that? You know, where are the controls on that? Cannabis has been singled out. It's been singled out for a particular reason, I think, unfairly to target one area of young people. I want to see it decriminalised now and a proper investigation into how we deal with it in the future.
Yes, firstly on myself, I did smoke cannabis 2 or 3 times in my late teens. I've never smoked tobacco at any time. And that was one of the reasons, no doubt, why I didn't smoke more cannabis when I was younger. Since I was 20, I've not smoked cannabis or consumed any other drugs other than alcohol. I do consume alcohol, sometimes in quantities larger than I ought to. My own position is I would not vote for extending any legalisation of any drugs until I saw a very clear statement on any of these issues. And the fundamental reason why I would not is that I am very frightened of the way that drugs are taking a grip on many young people in this country. Including in the city London, where I live at the moment, before I moved here to Norwich. How you've made it your business, both today and beforehand, to shout people down. That is your style. I prefer to give my answer in my own way as fully as I can, so that people can make their own judgments in whatever way they feel right. So my position will be that unless there is such a full-scale inquiry, I don't actually particularly think a Royal Commission is necessarily the best way of doing it, with clear reports, and I would favour there being such an inquiry. I would not personally vote for an extension of legalisation of drugs, including cannabis.
I must say, the Green Party guy, if I drop dead today, vote for him, all right? But I really don't want to quarrel with the Greens, because I do, you know, admire their condemnation of prohibition at the very least. But I do not support decriminalisation as opposed to legalisation. I'd like to get on to Labour now, because I can see Charles and I getting at least as short as they kept it yet. Now, Charles has said that the Labour candidate that they have tried to address the issues of the time. Now, I accept that legalising of cannabis might not be the most important issue of the time, but it is an issue of the time. And your party has disallowed debate on the subject. Is there any chance you can justify that for me now, Charles?
Well, we can't go too further down.
Okay, I think
there's
it's
so many
no,
questions. All right. Okay. Thank you for that.
He's always running away from me or the real issues.
Do you think he's scared of you?
He's not scared of me. I think he's scared he might have lost a lot of young votes by his policy of imprisoning drug users. I do without knowing his name. Well, obviously he didn't keep to his appointment.
Do you think that's bad for a politician?
Well, I think so. I mean, I simply wanted to discuss whether he agreed with David Evans that all young people who use drugs should be given the death penalty. Seems an extraordinary thing for a Tory politician to say. And I would just like to ask him about that. I made an appointment, but he hasn't turned up. What we do? I don't want to kick the door down.
I mean, I got busted in front of my kids, yeah? And when the cop stuck a gun into my stomach, my 7-year-old screamed, okay? I still hear that scream, okay? 10 years after. You know, it's just awful what they do. All right, but you see, they use it, like we've all got probably some latent sadism in us, okay? We keep it under control. Once you get given a job like a DA agent, or a screw in a prison even, or a cop sometimes, that latent sadism gets an easy way out. You know, they can bust you, they can smash you, they can make you cry in front of your kids, they can ruin, you know. It's that sort of thing, it's horrible. And this gives more and more, it enables this kind of sadism to emerge. Okay, we've all got it, you know, we're all horrible, we all have the most awful feelings. But we keep them down, we're not put into situations where it's okay to beat someone up. We're not put in situations where it's okay to sort of like stand on a father's face in front of his kids. You know, and those kind of situations ought to be minimized, I think.
It was a base, and it was visible from the air and kind of and from the motorways. So it, like, in terms of an advertising vehicle, it was very, very good. I have no complaints about it as headquarters. If I was to stand in Norwich again, I would choose Jackshire as my headquarters. I wouldn't describe it as a hive of activity, generally, but for the run-up to the election, it became that.
I heard you having a bit of an argument with Derek last night.
Yes, he's not prepared to do any work, really. He was probably the wrong choice in election agent. I think probably the wrong choice. Hello?
Oh. Well, at that point, it seems to have stopped.
He had his own hobby horses, which he wanted to use my election campaign as a vehicle for. Derek is against smoking tobacco, and he really wanted to make the Legalise Cannabis campaign into a sort of anti-tobacco campaign, which I felt was missing the point. He also advised controls of cannabis use, should it be legalized, which I disagreed with and which most of CLCAA disagreed with. In fact, that disagreement sort of caused a rift between one of the early rifts with CLCAA, and Derek formed his own splinter group. So one of the main reasons for asking him was to get some kind of unity. It's, I suppose I speak for everyone here now, it's terribly important that we get as many leaflets around as possible. I'll do whatever I can. Yeah. But if we could all do as much as we can in leaflets and encourage each other to...
We've got that box for the university tomorrow.
All right, great.
And we've got yeah, you haven't seen this one, have you?
No, I haven't actually.
That's because everybody's been waiting for it to come out on paperback, haven't they? To afford it, really.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, now, can someone take leaflets over to Derek? Because I know if I see him again, I'll kill him. Got that on camera?
That's yours poured out, Charlie. That's yours poured out.
Is there anyone prepared?
Is there anybody here that don't mind? Where is it?
Yeah,
Derek.
right beside you it should be.
There isn't one there.
Is there anyone prepared to take leaflets to Derek?
Or another one, if there's one.
Cameraman?
Yeah, I have my own shoes.
No,
I don't mind. Yeah. I have my own shoes on.
That's there.
And a couple of these.
Yeah. And a couple of these. And a couple of these, Charlie. Did he want to stick a piece?
Give him a couple more. Big college, isn't it?
Yeah, another one.
Charlie.
Okay, that's sorted then, yeah?
How they can stand there, you know, or sit there and say, you know, unless it's been tested and proved safe, whilst they're blatantly marketing stuff that has been proved dangerous. It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, you know, maybe if they prove cannabis dangerous, they'll allow it.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Just
Yeah.
leave it, and let them take it over.
Yeah.
Do you know how well you're doing in the polls?
No idea. No, I didn't know the word. I mean.
So that'd be worth finding out.
But then,
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. No, I expect most of the votes cast for me to be made secretive, and therefore not reflect on the polls.
See, there's the other side of things, which is paranoia. I call it pigs. Pigs, the enemies of legalisation, and it's nothing to do with the police. Pigs is P is paranoia and persecution. I is for indifference and ignorance, which is the people that either don't know because they've never been told or never bothered to find out, or they're indifferent in any case. G is greed, which is a lot of people in industries that might well suffer if cannabis was fully legalised. And S is the squabbles. We've been campaigning for a long time in Norwich, and it's been quite effective, but it hasn't actually been that sort of active. People sit around talking too much, maybe. Generally, I think people, it's all left to the last minute, and people, you know, a lot of the people that sort of sit around, they're not enthusiastic about doing anything. It's not any reason other than they're not sort of motivated people, or some of them are ill people, you know, they've got problems.
Why do you think they're not motivated?
I think they're just generally not motivated in life. You know, if you go somewhere like this in the daytime and you see like 12 people sitting around, they're obviously not working people. They haven't got jobs. You know, most of them are poor, and they're used to sitting around doing nothing. I don't really think that smoking makes any difference, because I certainly know like some of the most active people in Norwich, they smoke all the time, from morning till night, and they smoke a lot, and it doesn't affect them. You know, other people, if they haven't got anything to smoke, they still sit around doing nothing.
Giving these to Rupert, and then asking him, you know, to deliver some, then coming back and picking you up.
Yeah, that might be a good idea, because then we can wait for Sue, can't we?
Simply, I think, because
It's only the party going on.
Howard? Howard?
I'm sorry, but we cannot promote any political candidate.
Something going on tonight.
I know, but it's a political campaign. Someone is going around removing those posters. The union cannot promote. I'm doing all of the ones I see.
Why don't you put down that Liberal Democrat one then?
Because we're paying someone to go around and take the stuff off. All I'm asking you to do is comply with it. Because the person hasn't got to that notice board yet. We're paying someone to go around and take the posters off. I know it's for a party.
put something
aren't they, by letting him have a stall there?
You can have a stall, but you can't put posters up.
Oh, you can put posters on your stall, but you can't put your posters up.
The posters are owned by the Union of UEA students, and we cannot promote anything.
Do you think this is good union fund spending? So the union is spending money taking posters down.
The wind blows. I think kids should be allowed to give it a go.
Yeah.
And find out if they like it.
Yeah. And if they don't like it.
In all honesty, if they don't like it, then no one's forcing
and no one's going to be pushing it on them.
No one's forcing on them anyway. But I think it should be over there, in here, over
not
there,
advertised either.
over there.
Yeah.
Well, they don't need to advertise it. We all know what it is. And let's face it, it's safer, and I'm doing this for you, it's safer than this. It won't fucking, excuse my language, it won't bloody kill you. And the most it'll make you do is get a good hard on and good sex.
We all smoke hash. You know, it's just, well, it's better than drink, really. It mellows you out, you know, you don't get violent on it.
You saw me earlier. He was smoking last night. I saw him.
I am in Southampton University, and I'm about to address some students about the sense of legalising cannabis. Does anyone other than me get into trouble if I roll a joint here?
Well, have you seen who's standing in my constituency? And she said, who? And he said, some bloody smuggler. And then started saying, well, it can't be true. All this can't be true. And then just walked off saying, well, I've never heard of him.
The greatest stumbling block now, or hurdle really, to legalisation is that the country has been kind of becoming dependent on it. I mean, lots of people owe their jobs to this prohibition that we have, you know, like cops and screws in prisons and probation officers, and lots of good people too, you know. The other day was a perfect example. I was in Norwich, busily campaigning, and there was this guy who was a true old hippie who worshipped marijuana, the plant, the herb, everything about it. It was just there, you know. There was he made the biggest sacrifice of his life, which was to register as a voter, you know, to put a cross down after my name. Next to him was a cop, like a cop in about 40 odd, you know, younger than me, 40 odd, some mid-40s, but. And he was also for legalization, or thinking about it. We were just talking. And he said he was fed up of like busting hippies, locking them up, busting dopers, and, you know, sort of thought it was a rather silly waste of his time, because some people who joined the cops actually joined for quite honourable motives, you know, and he was one of them, and didn't feel he was fulfilling that. And so this other guy said, oh yeah, man, you worship the herb too, huh? And the cop was going, well, no, I don't actually worship the herb. No, I just think it'd be better if they didn't lock these kids up. I mean, I don't even smoke, you know, this kind of thing. Yeah, man, you for legalize. And so, you know, it immediately lowers the vote. You know, like two people who, had they not thought they were together, you know, would have actually voted for the same thing.
That piece in the paper I showed you tonight.
Yeah.
You know, that little what they call a soundbite now. They say, oh, that's an excellent soundbite.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what a soundbite is.
A soundbite is a short burst of sound, okay, composed of words which bite with their intensity of meaning.
Like Free the Weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Free the Weed. Oh, yeah. Succinct too is an excellent epithet to apply to something. It's the bite rather than the lick.
Yeah, so it's only just a fairly new word. It's something that's always happened.
Gone a while now.
Yeah.
It's an American word.
Is it?
Yeah, it's American. It's because they developed it to a fine art.
Yeah.
The electioneering there.
Yeah.
Like just say no.
Yeah.
You know, they spelled it wrong, didn't they? They spelled it N-O instead of K-N-O-W.
Yeah, right.
It was the right slogan, just the wrong spelling.
Yeah.
That's why I hate bad spelling.
Yeah. And then is it released? Said just say now.
Yeah. Just say no. Yeah. I think actually we ought to develop a policy of zero tolerance against prohibition.
Yeah.
You know, we just tolerated it too long.
Yeah.
Not to tolerate it anymore.
Yeah.
There's a cup of coffee and a couple of joints waiting up there if you want to go up there.
I think I ought to go because I got to call in the solicitors, unless it's heavy campaign and stuff.
No, not really. It's just
Okay,
a
then.
chill out.
I have to ask you to stop filming for a minute, please, because of what you're doing there. I mean, when I read this leaflet, the owner would not be very amused, actually. All right?
So it wasn't done for his amusement, actually. So
No, I realise that, but it's obviously my job on the line if you actually do.
You do whatever you have to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Fine, no problem.
Right, sorry.
Yeah, okay. You have to leave. police came in and said that the manager had rung them and reported that I had been asked to leave, but they're still there. I'd been smoking a marijuana joint. The owner had claimed to have recognised the smell and called the police. The police came and eventually said, he said it could be a matter of civil trespass if I stayed there any longer. And I said, no, we were going now. And he said, as far as he was concerned, the matter was closed. He seemed quite a nice policeman, and I was sorry that he had to waste his time in this kind of absurd stuff.
Do you think you would normally arrest people in such circumstances?
I think if it had been an 18-year-old kid or a 17-year-old kid who was smoking marijuana in a wimpy bar, yeah, he would probably be in prison now. But there's a certain amount of discrimination against people, and they don't bust me because they're too scared.
You've got a busy schedule?
Yeah, kind of, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I've got to come here again tonight with Tricky. I was out drinking with him last Wednesday and trying to plan some outrageous kind of activity here tonight.
They said I shouldn't smoke grass, and they said I shouldn't get high, and I started getting high a long time ago, and like I used to get drunk before that, but then I started smoking marijuana, and I got high, and they said I got happy and high. I got really happy and high, and they said you mustn't get happy and high. No. So they said you mustn't do this, but we still did it. And then they put us in prison, and they said that this is illegal, and we can't do this because it's illegal. Someone said you can't do it. Now, like for 86 million years, every creature has been allowed to eat or consume anything it wanted to. And then this dangerous experiment, Tricky, I'm telling you about prohibition, man, that dangerous thing that those American people invented, that's just like fuck things, man. And it's dangerous and it's got to stop. I think, but I'm too happy and high to think. And I do have a kind of short-term memory problem. And, but I think it's kind of like just too selective. There's so much shit I've forgotten, and I'm so glad I forgot most of it.
The reason I got to know Tricky was that I went to see him, blagged my way backstage, and asked if we could do something together in Norwich. And I wasn't allowed to make any political statements. I couldn't say vote for me, but Tricky was allowed to say vote for him. So Tricky said vote for him, and that was okay apparently.
But I think there will always be smugglers, who'll go to Nepal and bring back things that they shouldn't. I don't think that'll ever stop. But, I think, rather than imprison someone who did that, just hit him for the money, Hit him for the money every time, that's okay. But don't take away his freedom. That's such a horrible thing to do. I just don't see how prison can be justified for anyone other than sort of mass murderers, rapists, or whatever. I don't like it at all for those other kind of people.
Sure, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, okay, not really, thanks.
You're giving out legalise it. Drugs are okay. They're not okay.
You can lay back, you can have a joint. Yeah, it's all right.
You smoke dope.
How do I bring up my 4-year-old daughter, okay, with people like you going around saying drugs are great?
He smokes dope.
No, I am.
I am a dope.
Don't you think it's better prevention? Do you think prevention's better than saying, okay, people take it, cannabis is okay? It's not okay. We've got kids. We don't want our kids to take the crap.
When you're in the Rolling Stones?
No.
It's okay for her to do drugs as long as she gets from her doctor.
Whatever she wants.
I don't do drugs.
She doesn't actually do them.
No, but if she did, that'd be okay.
That's a drug. That's a drug. Politics in the mainstream, Conservative, Lib Dem and Labour are all liars. This man is telling the truth. That's one thing he's getting off his mind, it's the truth. And that's why I agree with you. Skin up, mate.
Okay, thank you.
What happened there, Howard?
I rolled up a joint and the lady who owned it got very upset and took the joint away and asked me to leave.
Quick!
Look up there.
Do you feel that you have student support?
Some, yes. I mean, the trouble is I normally only meet those who do support me. I would like to encounter more hostility and confrontation and be presented with arguments for prohibition so I can practice answering them, but I haven't come across any.
Have you exposed yourself to public debate on that
Yes,
level?
yeah, all the time. That's what I want. You know, what usually happens is that I'm confronted with a mother whose child has been killed or from a drug overdose or something like that, and therefore put in a kind of spotlight. This woman has had a terrible tragedy, right? And of course, one can identify with that tragedy very, very. I'm a dad too. I can identify with any kind of tragedy like that. But it's very hard to get them to realise that it's actually prohibition that killed their children, rather than any drug. And if you look at really, we're fighting against the same thing. Okay, I don't want my kids poisoned by bad dope in the street. I really don't.
What are you hoping to get out of today?
I don't know. I'd like to be able to explore the confession made by the Labour candidate last night that he smoked dope when he was younger, and how we can make that consistent with his policy of imprisoning people who do the same now.
Could I just ask you who you're going to vote for?
Howard Marks.
Education policy, tell people the truth about dope, stop making up his lies, and take all the money that he used to put people in prison and make some more schools.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Climate policy, okay, let the dealers sell it, let the growers grow it, let them make clothes out of it, let them make dope, let them make...
and all this pollution and stuff making, isn't there?
Yeah, none of this pollution, use it for fuel. Ecological, yeah, use it for the clothes, yeah, sure. Well, lots of policies. Why you favour decriminalisation over legalisation?
Right, we favour decriminalisation because it's, well, legalisation it puts it into a stringent framework of what you can and can't do. I think.
No, does it?
Yeah,
I think it frees up that framework, really. I'll give you my objection to it. If you like, or you could say something else.
Yeah, no.
Because it happens in Amsterdam, shall we say, decriminalisation or something. And there you're likely to have a higher incidence of taking the substance if it's decriminalised. Okay, more people will take it, obviously.
Yeah.
Therefore, that will necessitate a greater supply. If that supply remains criminal, you're actually getting more money into the criminal market. Okay? So you're actually criminalising it further by doing something which you call decriminalising.
Well, no,
do you follow what I mean?
But you don't criminalise. You decriminalise the supply as well as the consumption.
But they've never done that anyway. So who will give the supply?
Well, the I mean, you...
Because that's not what decriminalisation means, because no country can give the supply because of the UN Single Convention Agreement in Geneva.
Now, obviously, from the very beginning, the chances of my winning this seat is extremely small. That doesn't stop me at all, okay? I haven't thought of losing. All I'm risking is some kind of humiliation, and I honestly don't care. And should I win, then obviously I inherit an awful lot of responsibilities. Like basically, if enough people vote for me to get me in, I will do whatever those people want, okay? I have no experience in doing what a great big bunch of people want, but I will do it the best I can. And continue to legalise cannabis, or you know, in whatever opportunities present themselves in there. But even if you think voting for me is like a pointless exercise because it's unlikely that I get in, those numbers of votes are going to be looked at, okay, by the guys who do get in. And in fact, it would be far better if there was no such thing as a legalised cannabis party, that each of the other parties had something in them that felt what we felt. I mean, do remember that even though I probably won't get in, all right? I'm not defeatist, but like, I probably won't get in. I don't care. I'm not letting it get in the way. But all the votes that I get will mean something to someone, okay? Because I don't want to be a politician, really. There should be no such thing as a legalised cannabis party anyway. It should never have been prohibited in the first place.
We're still waiting. There's still none in it, look. None yet. Come on. There is actually a Liberal Party as well. Yes, it's nice. You've got tickets, huh?
No, I don't have a ticket. I can't.
Snag place.
No.
It was Dennis, was it?
Yeah, commercially known as Howard is what they have under. What is your job here?
My job?
Yeah.
Well, to let people in. Just try and find it.
Hi, dude.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Yes, how are you?
Nice to meet you. Good. We can't let you in yet because aren't you Mid-Norfolk or are you Norwich North?
Norwich North.
You are. You're allowed in then. Have you got your ticket?
I don't. I just got so confused with
That's
everything.
okay.
I don't have it. Is it all right if my daughter comes in with me? Amber?
Okay. All right. Come through.
Well.
Howard.
My candidate. This is the man.
You all right then?
Yeah, you made it. I'm glad. Hey, we're doing all right. We're getting a bloody vote, man. We are going to do this. We're going to get a decent vote. Yeah.
It's looking good.
Easily. No problem. Go for it. Legalise cannabis. That's us. Yeah? Legalise cannabis. Do it now.
The organisational ability that one acquires through years of smuggling large consignments of dope definitely helps him be able to do a number of things at a number of times, to take control of matters occasionally, and to be, I suppose, getting people to do things that aren't actually very pleasant or much fun to do for a higher cause.
Is it? I, John Howard Bryant, being the acting returning officer for the parliamentary election for the Norwich North constituency, declare that the number of votes cast for each candidate was as follows: Bailey Smith, Tony Michael, 1,777, Gibson Ian, 27,346, Hood, James Anthony, 495. Kinghorn, Robert Richard Francis, 17,876. Marks, Dennis Howard, 512. Mills, Diana Betty Linda.
But really the feeling, you know, if I was just talking about feeling, was simply one of disappointment of there not being more votes. That was the feeling.
I vow we will serve them well and work hard to turn around the things that have gone wrong in this city and in this county. We're going to raise our sights in the horizon.
Ideal. Skunk tea. You know what? Skunk weed tea. We had a hilarious.
What did you think of last night then?
Well, I mean, bearing in mind all the sort of obstacles that a movement like this is up against, I think Howard did remarkably well. You know, we're all hoping for a lot more votes, but bearing in mind, you know, limited budget, who Howard is, and all the things against us, if we'd been standing on an election on proportional representation, based on Norwich North of 1.5%, we would have had about 6 seats or 8 seats or something like that.
I heard somewhere that Charles Clark had said that he'd actually be open to debate now on the Legalise Cannabis issue now that he's been voted in.
That's fine. As soon as he's ready, I'm ready. You can choose the forum, anyone. I'd be happy to debate publicly against him.
He actually said he didn't mind the party, but he didn't like you.
He said he didn't mind the party, but he didn't like me. I think my views of him are precisely the same, actually. I like the Labour Party and I don't like him.
What were the sort of highs and lows that stick out in your mind of the campaign?
The highs tended to be in the evenings and the lows in the mornings.
Was there any particular incident where you thought, what the fuck am I doing?
No. I talked to Alan quite often because we both don't quite know what to do, you know, whether the Legalise Cannabis Party should carry on as something, whether the number of votes that it got in total indicated something, whether those letters of support ought to be capitalised upon some sort of way. We don't know. We're both kind of a bit tired of campaigning.
So what's the next step now for you? Not just about the Legalise Cannabis Party, what's the next step?
The next immediate step for me is to get absolutely out of my fucking head. So I intend to take ecstasy tonight and get absolutely ripped.
Can I leave the stage? Okay, thank you.